All right guys, so we're here today at Just Autos, and you know why we're here. We're here because we need some performance upgrades. Now I've got 2 trucks in there and we're going to tune them up, ready for their next adventure. This is where Back in Black was built. This is where all the noise come from, all the rumble that made Back in Black famous. So we've brought the 200 here. Now this new 200 is very close to being finished. So we're down to the nuts and bolts and to make this thing hammer. Now, inside there, we've got a few bits and pieces that we're going to put onto it. I'll show you, but we won't do the full reveal and we won't go for a drive until this truck is completely done. Let's go and check her out. All right guys, so we got some goodies to put on this truck today to help with its performance and also help with its ability to travel, you know, as a touring vehicle. One of the things you'll notice here is the air box. So this is a new filter that's going on. Now this is an oil filter, which means not an oil filter, but it's an air filter that you can put oil on. Okay, so it has the ability to trap the really fine dust really well, but also give you the performance at the same time. Now this is the air box that it goes into. You can see this custom fabricated box. Now the guys at Fats do this setup here for a 200. Looks pretty cool because I have heard a few stories about the old air box. That's the old air box there. You can see that's the old filter, and apparently they get dusted. Engines can get dusted. And if you have a look around here, they seem to have a problem with the sealing, or I think a lot of it, people aren't putting the lids on properly and things like that. I've never had a problem personally, but I also went to this sort of setup because I want the performance. I want better airflow. This is the snorkel that's going to go on. It's a tube type snorkel. See that one? We're just going for a different look this time. And then behind me is another bit of kit that's going on. Now it's a PWR performance kit that sits on top of the intercooler. So the standard intercooler comes off. This is a whole new intercooler plus thermo fan, so it's got a set of fans on top. Because the 200 doesn't have a bonnet scoop, it actually uses the front. The air comes in through the front grille and gets pushed in, and that's where it cools that intercooler that sits on top of the engine. Now there's a lot of heat generated from that V8 diesel, so having the fans on top can reduce the air temperature, which is going to create better performance. So with all that performance upgrade plus a tune from Just Autos, I think this thing's going to be an animal when we're finished. Here's the new exhaust. I'll pull it apart. So they've taken the old exhaust off, obviously. Throw that sucker in the bin. And this is the new one that's going on. Now, this will make it flow a hell of a lot better. So it's a much bigger diameter, less restriction, so no restriction in it. And that'll make it flow better and develop more power. The thing about playing with, you know, when you're doing these remaps and all that sort of stuff is you want the engine to breathe. Your air's coming in, and then the engine then uses the air and it comes in and then it hits this brick wall, right? And that's your exhaust. So we want it to breathe, we want it to be big, and we want it to get that exhaust out so it doesn't restrict it. So let's have a look here. What's in the box? Well, what's in the package? That looks like something that looks like a dump pipe. Look at the size of that thing. And look, there's one thing about bigger is better when it comes to exhaust. There is no doubt about it. Bigger is better. And there she is, look at that. Well, that looks like a tailpipe. Size of that. So she's going to be a good looking exhaust, but it's just not all about looks, it's also about performance. And hopefully that's what we're going to get out of this system. Look at the difference. I know which one I want. This truck is going to sound so good. All right, so we'll leave Matt and his team to do all the mechanical side of it now. Exhaust, airbox, all that sort of stuff. And in a couple of days' time, we'll come back and we'll put it on the dyno, and that's when we'll put the tune in. And this thing is going to be a different beast. All right, so we're just putting a lockup kit in now. We're going to stick it on the dyno and we're going to turn all the noise into horsepower and torque. Now, last night I got a bit busy and I put some lights on the front of this truck as well, which I think has come up really, really well. We've got the Uniden aerial on with the adjustable, check that out. Look at that. Obviously works a lot better when you're mounted higher, but I think it's pretty cool anyway.
So torque-wise, it's 350 newton meters at all four wheels. That's the torque.
So stock, that's the stock dyno numbers, 35s, mud tyres, conversion, full creative conversion. So with all that added to it, you're looking at a massive difference between this stock with that gear or an actual stock wagon. So you get more horsepower out of a stock wagon. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to turn this into a touring vehicle, which means I want to make sure that we get the horsepower and the torque so that you can run those extra things like the conversion, the 35 mud tyres, the weight, canopy, all that sort of stuff, and tow. And that's what we're going to set up now. Boom. 200. We end up getting 123 up to 200, and we got a true figure on the torque with the converter locked. So no slippage. We got it up to 81% increase. Like that's absolutely massive.
347 newton meters to 628.
347 to 628. That's huge.
But yeah, good game.
Nearly nearly double the torque out of this thing. I think with 285s you would have doubled it.
Yeah, usually in a give or take situation, you'll probably find that 80 to 100% gain is probably what we'll get. But that's still 81% with 35s and everything else. Like, I'm stoked. That's really good. That's exactly
great.
What it should be. So.
Good job. Here we go. Okay guys, so I've just come back from Just Autos. We've had the remap, it's all been put in. We've had the airbox, the snorkel, all that sort of stuff fitted up. Now that's the performance side of it. Don't forget the top mount intercooler, which has been changed with the 2 fans, all that gear. Now here is the last thing that I have to do to the performance upgrade of this 200. Now it is called the Ultimate 9. It's the EBC now, it's a throttle controller. The way it works is it increases the throttle response. So when you put your foot on the accelerator, you're actually putting your foot on the accelerator harder, but with less pressure, and you're getting that response. You're taking the lag out. I notice it the most when I'm towing, because usually when you're towing some heavy load, it puts a lot of weight on your vehicle and you lose that response because you've got this weight. Well, chuck one of these on and you'll find out. All right guys, there's 3 settings. Out of 2 of those settings, there is up to 9 adjustments. So you've got economy. If you want to get that really good fuel economy, you still want that little bit of throttle lag taken out, then you can do that. Set it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right up to 9. The other one is Ultimate, so it's Ultimate 9, okay? The same name as the controller. Basically, you set it to U, which is Ultimate, and you can set that from 1 through to 9. I don't know what 1's like, I never set it to 1, I go straight to 9. And then the last one, which is auto. So the way auto works is you place a small amount of pressure and, you know, don't accelerate hard, then it's automatically going to sense that and it's not going to apply too much of the setting to it. But if you hit the gas, then it'll go straight up and give you the maximum. I reckon this little thing here is going to make a huge difference to how this truck handles in the bush and on the highway.